everyone, so this is my review of The Librarians Season 3, Episode 1, called The Rise of Chaos. And basically what this episode is about is that the Egyptian god of chaos inhabits a human in the hopes of trying to release pure evil onto the world. And the librarians have to stop him by deciphering a bunch of clues in a science museum. And this was a really great and interesting episode, and I still just absolutely love this series, so I'm so happy with what they're doing and where they're going and blah 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 blah. I really love the idea of this episode and how they managed to keep everything under a whole Egyptian theme with all the clues and stuff. So they're harkening back to Egyptian history and all that stuff, but then it was kind of cool that they also managed to keep some of the stuff pretty relevant with having some other sciences in there mixing together with the Egyptian history. I thought all that was really kind of cool. And I really did enjoy that this episode managed to give a moment for each of the librarians to sort of show their strengths and abilities to some extent, I have to say, because for some of them it was oh yeah, you just do this, this, and this. It wasn't really them using their abilities, it was just saying what to do. So it wasn't quite there, but still they did have those certain moments where it was really a moment for each of the different librarians, and I thought that was great that they managed to put that into one episode. There were some moments in this episode that were really kind of fun, but really kind of unnecessary too, where the one moment I can think of is when they're sitting around a campfire while learning about the different sort of creatures and things that could inhabit other creatures or things. So the whole campfire part was kind of unnecessary for the actual important learning part, but still it was really fun to have there. And then all the moments where they were actually on the mission to stop the Greek god of chaos, or not Greek, Egyptian god of chaos, was really well done with how they managed to highlight the really important parts and the necessary parts, but also keeping none of the parts all that long. They managed to organize it very well and keep things short, but keeping things having all the necessary parts to them. That I found really great with how well they organized it all. And then the actual Egyptian god of chaos, I really enjoyed with how they chose to portray him and have him in this episode. That I found really cool, and his abilities to use a pulse of dark magic to just create chaos, I found really cool. But the fact that that pulse had a limited range, that I didn't much care for, because it just seemed odd. But I guess it also makes sense that whenever he uses the pulse, it doesn't affect everyone in the world, it only affects the people in front of him. But still, the fact that that limited range is still so small, and it the minute you step out of the range, you're done, and you aren't under the chaos field anymore. That I found kind of weird and odd, and I didn't really care for it, but still it made sense to be able to get the team to work together, which that was the other part of his abilities that I didn't much care for, is the fact that the opposite of chaos is teamwork. So when the team just finally decides to work together, for some reason, they are no longer affected by his pulse. That I found kind of odd and kind of a weird way for them to just fix all the problems. And the whole premise, sort of background history of this whole episode was really kind of confusing and odd to me, where apparently the original librarians, the very, very first original librarians, found the key and the door of pure evil, and so then they locked away the key in this sort of safe and stuff to hide it away from the door, so then someone had to unlock the safe to get to the door and all that. But the fact that they put the key in a locked safe under this museum that eventually emerged on top of it, was kind of weird in my mind. But the worst part that I didn't care for was the fact that the key is so close to the door, they didn't care to separate them by massive miles. They're right next to each other, basically. That I didn't really care for. And if the story checks out and they were the original librarians, why didn't they take this massively powerful key that unlocks the door to pure evil and put it in the library? Someplace where it is much more safe and unable for someone to easily get to that just makes so much more sense in my mind to put it in the library and not in this random safe under a massive amount of basically dirt probably at the time. It makes so much more sense to put it in the museum, in the library. At least that's what goes in my mind. But I do have to say, overall, I really enjoyed this episode and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the season will bring. So, yeah, that's my review of The Librarians, Season 3, Episode 1, called The Rise of Chaos. So, yeah. Bye!